Ready for a party? We're diving into Act 1, Scene 5 of Romeo and Juliet.
Ah, the party scene. It's the one where our star-crossed lovers meet for the first time.
Right, but it's more than just a party, isn't it? There's so much going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely. Shakespeare packs a lot into this scene. We're at the Capulet mansion. Imagine, if you will, servants rushing around, musicians tuning their instruments,
And all those guests, the who's who of Verona, dressed to the nines.
trying to outdo each other exactly. But let's not forget the underlying tension.
The elephant in the room, or rather the feud in the ballroom.
Precisely. The Montagues and Capulets, sworn enemies.
And that's where Romeo comes in, our lovesick protagonist.
He decides to crash the party, a Capulet party no less. Talk about a bold move.
He's not exactly known for his cautious nature, is he?
Not at all. But when he sees Juliet, everything changes.
It's like the rest of the world just fades away, right?
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright, he says. Talk about love at first sight.
But just as Romeo's falling head over heels, we have Tybalt entering the scene.
Ugh. Tybalt. Juliet's cousin, always ready for a fight.
He's like the human embodiment of that Montague-Capulet feud.
Exactly. And he recognizes Romeo's voice, even through the mask.
Oh no, this can't be good. So what happens? Does a brawl erupt right then and there?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But Lord Capulet steps in.
He tries to keep the peace, at least for now.
He wants Romeo left alone. He even calls him a virtuous and well-governed youth.
Well, that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, but you have to wonder, what's Capulet really thinking beneath that jovial facade?
It makes you question his judgment, doesn't it? Or maybe he's just in denial about how volatile the situation really is.
Either way, it's a powder keg waiting to explode.
And speaking of things about to explode, Romeo and Juliet manage to sneak in a few words.
And not just any words, they launch into a sonnet.
A sonnet at a party. Only Shakespeare could pull that off.
It's like they're speaking a secret language, right? A language only they understand.
Exactly. Full of metaphors, religious imagery. It's all very intense and very Shakespearean.
So they're flirting, but they're also sizing each other up intellectually.
Precisely. It's clear that this is more than just a passing infatuation. These two, they have a real connection.
But we know this can't last, don't we? I mean, they're on opposite sides of this huge family feud.
The truth always has a way of coming out, and in this case, it's the nurse who spills the beans.
Juliet's nurse.
The one and only. She accidentally reveals Juliet's identity to Romeo.
Oh, no. Talk about a mood killer. So Romeo, he finds out he's fallen for the daughter of his sworn enemy. What's his reaction?
It's not pretty. Is she a Capulet? He cries. Oh, dear Count, my life is my foe's debt. He knows he's in trouble.
He's caught between the moon and Verona, right? It's like he's realizing love might be a battlefield.
Well put. And what about Juliet? How does she take the news that her mystery man is a Montague?
I bet she's thrilled, huh?
Let's just say her world gets rocked too. She says, my only love sprung from my only hate. Talk about an uh-oh moment. For Juliet, right? She just had this amazing connection, this incredible sonnet exchange, and now she finds out it's with the enemy.
It's like something out of a bad dream. You meet the person of your dreams, and then bam,
Yeah.
they're off limits.
Totally. And that's where Shakespeare really gets you. He puts these characters through the ringer emotionally. Speaking of which, their sonnet, did you notice how it's like they created their own little world right there in the middle of that party?
Yeah, it's super intense with all the religious imagery.
Right.
Like pilgrims and saints and
That's-
stuff.
They're not just talking about holding hands. They're comparing their love to a pilgrimage, their kiss to a holy shrine.
It is pretty heavy stuff for a party, even by Shakespearean standards.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the point, isn't it? He's elevating their love, making it clear this is something extraordinary, something worth fighting for. Though it does make you wonder, how did they even manage to have that conversation with so many people around?
Good point. I mean, it's a party, not a library. Was it like a hushed conversation or something?
We have to imagine it was somewhat private, right? Maybe tucked away in a corner, stealing glances, while others were distracted by the music and the dancing.
Creating their own little world amidst the chaos. That's kind of romantic when you think about it.
It is. But let's not forget this is still a Shakespearean tragedy in the making. The odds are stacked against them.
Speaking of odds, what about Tybalt? We left him ready to throw down. Did he just let it go?
Oh, Tybalt doesn't forget so easily. But Lord Capulet, he intervenes again.
Playing peacemaker.
Well, sort of. He basically tells Tybalt to cool it, that he's making a scene.
But deep down, you know Tybalt's not going to let this go, right?
Definitely not. He's like a dog with a bone, especially when it comes to the Montagues. This little run-in is just adding fuel to the fire.
So the party ends, everyone goes home.
Yeah.
But what about Romeo and Juliet? Do they get a chance to talk more, clear the air?
That's the tragedy of it all. They're left with this burning secret, this forbidden love.
And a whole lot of questions, I'm sure.
And longing glances. We have to imagine Juliet, completely smitten, asks the nurse to point Romeo out as he's leaving.
She's hooked, huh?
Totally. But Romeo, he's already gone. And to make matters worse, Juliet then finds out his last name.
From the nurse. You're kidding.
Yep, the nurse spills the beans that he's a Montague. Can you imagine? Talk about a buzzkill.
Oh, man, the ultimate party foul.
Mm.
So they're both left reeling from this discovery.
Absolutely, each wrestling with the knowledge that their love is basically forbidden.
Talk about a dramatic exit. Romeo and Juliet both left reeling with this forbidden love, and we, the audience, we're left wondering what's going to happen next.
Exactly. Shakespeare, he's a master at cliffhangers. And this scene, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It makes you think, right? About those chance encounters, how quickly life can change in an instant.
You go to a party, expecting some music, maybe a little dancing, and suddenly, bam, you're caught in this web of love and hate and family drama.
And that's what's so brilliant about this scene, Shakespeare. He takes this everyday event, a party, and he infuses it with so much meaning, so much tension.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to our own lives, showing us how easily things can spiral out of control, how our emotions, they can lead us down these unexpected paths.
And the imagery he uses, the light and the darkness, the talk of pilgrimages and holy shrines.
It's almost like Romeo and Juliet are creating their own little world, their own private religion, right?
Exactly. They're finding solace in each other amidst all this chaos and danger. It's both beautiful and incredibly tragic because you know it can't last.
And that's the heart of this play, isn't it? The idea that love, it can exist in the darkest of places, but sometimes it's not enough.
It's about the weight of expectations, the pressure of family, the consequences of choices made generations before.
Makes you think, doesn't it? About how these ancient grudges, they can still have power over us, even if we don't fully understand them.
And that's why Romeo and Juliet, it still resonates with us today, centuries after it was written, because those themes, they're timeless.
Love, hate, fate, free will, Shakespeare. He tapped into something universal.
He did indeed. So as we leave this scene in this episode, what do we take with us? What's the final thought, the thing that lingers?
I think it's the power of choice. Romeo and Juliet, they chose to see each other, to connect, even though everything was telling them not to.
And those choices, they set in motion a chain of events that will change their lives forever, for better or for worse.
And isn't that what makes a story so compelling? The idea that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we still have the power to choose, to act, to love.
Absolutely. And that's why Romeo and Juliet will always be a masterpiece, because it reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even when everything seems hopeless, there's always a glimmer of hope, a flicker of defiance, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the complexities of love, fate, and the choices we make. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden depths.